In the world of Philippine politics, power is both a weapon and a shield, a force that can build a nation or break it apart. Tonight, on Pinoy True Crime Story, we unravel the tale of one of the most powerful figures in modern history, a president who rose from a legacy of leadership, ruled with authority, and later faced one of the most controversial corruption cases in the country's history. This is the Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo Plunder case, a story of power, betrayal, and survival in the heart of Philippine politics. The story of Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo is a story of destiny. Born into a family of influence, raised in privilege, and shaped by politics. Her father, Diosdado Macapagal, once sat in Malacanang himself, known as the poor boy from Lubao, who rose to the highest seat in the land. But unlike her father, Gloria's path would lead not just to power, but to scandal, suspicion, and eventual imprisonment. As a young woman, Arroyo was brilliant. She studied economics, graduated magna cum laude from Assumption College, earned a master's degree at Ateneo de Manila, and later pursued doctoral studies at the University of the Philippines. She was poised, confident, and ambitious, everything a politician could be. By the 1990s, her political rise was unstoppable. She entered the Senate, where she quickly gained a reputation for being sharp, disciplined, and fiercely intelligent. But it was her alliance with then-President Joseph Irap Estrada that would change her fate forever. In 1998, she ran as Estrada's vice president. They came from different parties, but Arroyo's popularity transcended boundaries. She won by a landslide. For many, she was the symbol of a new generation of leadership, a woman ready to take the Philippines into the 21st century. But just 3 years later, the nation would see her in an entirely different light. When the EDSA Tuwundri, Tononitihu, Tattoo Revolution erupted in 2001, sparked by allegations of corruption against President Estrada, Arroyo, as vice president, found herself at the center of the storm. As Estrada fled Malacanang, Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo took her oath as the 14th President of the Republic of the Philippines. The daughter of a president had now become one herself. Her rise was dramatic. Her first words as president were a promise, a vow to lead with integrity, to fight corruption, and to restore trust in government. But promises in politics are fragile things. At first, many believed in her. The markets stabilized, foreign investors returned, and the image of a competent economist president took hold. Yet, behind the walls of Malacanang, a different story was unfolding, one marked by political deals, backroom negotiations, and alliances built not on reform, but on survival. Then came the election of 2004. Arroyo sought a fresh mandate from the people. Her opponent was the beloved actor Fernando Poe Jr. The nation was divided between intellect and charisma, between policy and popularity. When the votes were tallied, Arroyo was declared the winner. But almost immediately, allegations of cheating began to surface. And then, the recording. A mysterious audio tape spread like wildfire across the country. In it, a woman's voice, eerily similar to the president's, could be heard speaking to a man identified as Garci, Virgilio Garcilano, a Commission on Elections official. "Hello, Garci. Will I still lead by 1,000,000?" Those words sent shockwaves across the nation. For many, it was proof that the 2004 elections had been rigged. The Hello Garci scandal became one of the darkest moments of her presidency. Protests filled the streets, opposition lawmakers called for her resignation, and her credibility crumbled overnight. On national television she appeared, calm but tense, and said the words that would haunt her forever. "I am sorry." But she didn't resign. She held her ground. Through political maneuvering and loyalty from her allies, she survived one impeachment attempt after another. Arroyo was known as Iron Lady, a leader who could bend without breaking. But behind her political resilience, new allegations were brewing. During her 9 years in power, Arroyo's administration faced multiple corruption scandals, from the NBN-ZTE broadband deal to the fertilizer fund scam. Yet none would prove as explosive as the case involving the Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office, or PCSO. When Arroyo left the presidency in 2010, she still held immense influence. She ran for Congress in Pampanga and won. But her past was catching up with her. Under the administration of President Benigno Noynoy Aquino III, investigations into her alleged misuse of government funds intensified. Aquino, whose mother Cory Aquino had once restored democracy after Marcos, vowed to make corruption pay its price. In November 2011, a court order barred Arroyo from leaving the country. Officials claimed she was attempting to flee and seek asylum abroad. Then, in one of the most unforgettable moments in recent Philippine history, television cameras captured Gloria Arroyo being wheeled through an airport in a neck brace and hospital gown. The once powerful president, now frail and vulnerable, claiming she was being persecuted. Soon after, she was arrested and charged with plunder, accused of illegally diverting 366 million pesos in intelligence funds from the PCSO between 2008 and 2010. Prosecutors said the money, intended for intelligence operations and charity work, had been misused, siphoned off through a network of approvals signed by Arroyo and her officials. The documents showed her signature authorizing fund releases with little to no accountability. The amounts were staggering, tens of millions released in just months, all classified as confidential. For years, she maintained her innocence. Her lawyers argued that all funds were properly accounted for, and that she merely approved recommendations by her subordinates. But the image of a president accused of plunder, detained in a hospital room, facing the same fate as her predecessor, Estrada, became a symbol of how far she had fallen. Arroyo spent nearly 5 years under hospital arrest at the Veterans Memorial Medical Center. During that time, her health deteriorated, her neck brace becoming a constant sight. Still, she never wavered. Her camp called her a victim of political persecution, targeted by the Aquino administration to settle old scores. But her critics said otherwise. They believed her power, once absolute, had finally met its reckoning. Then, in July 2016, everything changed. The Supreme Court, by a vote of 11-4, acquitted Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo of plunder. The ruling stated that the prosecution had failed to prove she had personally benefited from the PCSO funds. After 5 long years, she walked free. Her release came just weeks after President Rodrigo Duterte took office. Many speculated that Duterte, an old ally, had quietly supported her acquittal. Whatever the truth, the timing was unmistakable. The tides of power had turned once again. When Arroyo stepped out of detention, she smiled. The woman once accused of plundering the nation's coffers stood unbowed, her political instincts sharper than ever. And as history would soon show, she was not done yet. In 2018, she returned to power, this time as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. It was one of the most stunning political comebacks in modern Philippine history. Her critics were speechless. Her allies called it destiny. But the question remains, was Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo truly innocent, or simply too powerful to convict? In the Philippines, where politics and justice often dance in shadow, that line is rarely clear. To this day, the PCSO plunder case stands as a symbol of how deeply corruption runs, and how survival often depends not on truth, but on power. 366 million pesos, money that could have helped thousands of families, funded schools, hospitals, and food for the poor. Gone, lost in a maze of signatures and sealed documents. And yet, no one was ever punished. For some, Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo is a survivor, a woman of unmatched resilience who endured humiliation and came out stronger. For others, she is a reminder of how justice can bend for the powerful. Whatever history decides, one thing is certain: her story will forever haunt the legacy of Philippine politics. You've just listened to the story of the Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo Plunder case here on Pinoy True Crime Story, where we uncover the real, the powerful, and the untold stories behind the Philippines' most shocking crimes and controversies. If you want to hear more stories of power, corruption, and justice in the Philippines, follow, like, share, and subscribe to Pinoy True Crime Story, and discover the truth that power tries to hide.